All right, welcome to CIS 4710 lab section for week 2. We're going to go over lab 1 tonight. And with that, we are going to set up the VM that we're going to be using as the target. So I put an announcement in your Blackboard session. If I can go to announcements, just to recap, um, of that link. So if you go to that link, you should come to a folder that has all of these different items. You're going to download all of that into your virtual machines directory that you set up with VMware Workstation. You're going to create a folder that and call it CIS Target 1 or CIS Lab 1, or doesn't really matter, it's arbitrary. But you're going to paste all those files in there. Okay? Now, the VMX file, I'm sorry, the VMDK file is pretty doggone big. It's 10 gigs. So it's going to take up a little bit of space. So be patient on that download. Okay. But once downloaded, when you go into VMware Workstation, all right, you don't have to build a new virtual machine because it's already built for you. You just need to open it. You don't need to import it. You just need to go, because you've already downloaded it, you just need to go to File, Open. And then find that directory wherever you put it, and then that VMX file, and click Open. Okay? And it'll pop in there, and it'll be ready to power on. Now, two things. One, this probably won't show up on mine because this is the third class I've done it in. It's going to come up with a warning stating that the virtual machine is in operation. Do you want to take control of that virtual machine? And you say yes. Number two, as it's booting, it's going to say, it appears that this virtual machine was moved or copied. So did you move it or did you copy it? Always say, I copied it. It even says, if you're in doubt, say, I copied it. Say you copied it. Okay, but we're going to turn it on. All right, and it should boot up. Now, it's not activated, so if you want to, actually, you're not going to have the password to activate it because guess what? You don't have the password to get into it. This wouldn't be a hacking class if I gave you the password, right? So once it's up and running, you're fine. Then go to your Kali box that you installed from the first homework and bring it up. Now, one thing you want to notice is I already have this set up. Your CIS target, if we go to the settings, is on the NAT network. Your Kali box is on the NAT network. That's fine. You want it that way. Okay. Now, if you moved your Kali box to another network, move it back, or move the Windows box to that network too. But this works best if you have them both on NAT. Okay. So once that's done, log in. And let's take a look at it. We're going to do, first off, an nmap scan of the server and take a screenshot of it. Now, just like with your homework files, I want you to take the screenshots, paste them into this document, all right? And then at the end of the day, when you're ready to submit your lab through Blackboard, everything is in that one document. It's all good to go. So let's take a look at this. All right. First off, we need to find the target. Well, we know it's there. We know it's running. We know it's on the same network. But guess what we don't know? We don't know it's what? We don't know its IP address, right? So we need to find that. So if I bring up a terminal and I look for what my IP address is with the ifconfig command, I see that my address is 192.168.225.138. Okay? I have a standard Class C subnet mask, 24-bit subnet mask. So guess what? If I'm on the NAT network and the target's on the NAT network, and I have an IP address in the 192.168.225 network, guess what I can probably deduce? The target's going to have an IP address in that network as well, right? Okay. So we just need to find it. Okay. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. We can do an nmap scan with just a simple ping scan. Okay, we can do that from terminal. If I remember this correctly. Ooh. So it looks like the host is down or blocking probes. I may have done the switch wrong. That was just a quick S. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I didn't put that in there. Yeah, CIDR notation, people. CIDR notation. Okay, and that'll run pretty quick, and it'll come back. I should have did -V for verbose, but that would have given me a lot of information. All right. For those of you who don't like working on command line stuff, guess what? There's also another way you can do this. You can go to information gathering. You can go to the GUI, the UI, the Zenmap. Oh, there it goes. So that return looks like we found 139. It's a VMware address. So it has all these ports open. Wow. That's pretty cool. All right. So that's just a simple scan. This is good though, because this shows you all of the ports. We're going to keep that. We're going to set that aside. We may need it. All right. So if I put that IP address and I do an intent scan through Zenmap, now I can do the same scan. All right. If you see here, if I set an intent scan, that command right there, if I put it in the command line, will run via command line as well. All right. Or I can run it from here. So I'm looking for an nmap scan. But looky there's all my discovered ports. If I go to the ports, oh, I have to wait for it to end. So once that nmap scan of the server is done, I don't care if you did it in command line. I don't care if you did it in Zenmap. Right? I just want it done. I need to have a screenshot of it. So the screenshot I'm looking for in Zenmap is once it's completely done. If I take that same command and say open up a new terminal and paste that in there, that'll run as well. Okay? And you'll notice that it's going to take about as much time as the GUI one. I don't care, again, which way you do it. I'm going to close this out because I'm sucking up resources. Okay? It'll take a couple of minutes to run. So, next, we need to run an OpenVAS scan. And that comes in handy here for number 2. So, OpenVAS is not set up in your Kali Linux system by default. You have to set it up. Now, I have a handy dandy, nice little how-to in the announcements for OpenVAS help. If you run into problems, you can go through this tutorial. Okay. But simply put, if you follow along with this video that I'm making, all you have to do is first install it and then configure it. So the install command is apt-get install OpenVAS. Now, I've already installed this, so I don't want to do it again. But when you go through the installation process, All right, it's going to take about maybe 7-8 minutes. It's pretty quick, depending on how much RAM and what your processor speed is, everything else. Okay. The tricky one that takes the longest, depending on your resources, is after it's installed, is OpenVAS setup. Now, this is a 3-step process where it's going to go out to the internet. Again, make sure Kali is on NAT. And it's going to grab all the NVT signatures. It's going to try to grab the SCAP databases, etc. You only really need the NVT signatures. If it fails out on the other ones, don't worry about it. Don't give it a second thought. At the very end of that setup, at the very, very end of the setup, you are going to get a password. And the password is going to be in single quotes. You need to copy that password. That is for your admin user. All right. Immediately, OpenVAS setup will open up Greenbone Security Assistant. Okay. With the login page, with admin there. Paste that password in there and log in. Here's what it looks like. So if I open Firefox and I go to my, I am crushing this thing. I'm running out of resources here. All right. https://whack. I can do 127.0.0.1 :9392, which is the port it's on, or I can do the IP address and the same port. Sometimes it doesn't like that. Ah, I know what I did wrong. I goofed. When you reboot, there's one other thing you need to do. So let me just take a quick screenshot of this. I know I'm jumping around. I apologize. So these are my open ports. Make sure I get everything here. Timestamp the whole 9 yards. So those list of open ports, I think, is for number 3 or 4. Yeah, so number 3, that's a list of open ports. Put that in there under number 3. Your nmap scan when it's completed, since we did this already in shoot. Okay, so I can get rid of that one since we're done with it. Come back to you. So the list of open ports here, I'm sorry, the nmap scan when it's done, I see that it has completed. I just need to see something with that IP address on it, that you scanned it. So we'll go back to the snipping tool. New. Make sure you get your date and time. Edit. Copy. And that's number 1. Okay? Everybody with me there so far? So number 1 is your nmap scan, your completed nmap scan. Number 3 is a list of ports that you can get from nmap. Again, you can go back to your Zenmap and just go to the ports page, and that will suffice as well, because that's just a quick listing. Or you can do it manually from the command line. Okay? There are several ways that you can get the right answer, all right, in this lab. Depends on, hey, I want to try to do something. I've never done this way before. Or, hey, I want to hit the easy button and get the points. I'm okay with that too. Easy is good. Okay, so going back to OpenVAS. One thing, when you come back into Kali after you've installed OpenVAS, when you've done the OpenVAS setup and it populates everything for you immediately, it has already started the OpenVAS services. If you close Kali out, you shut it down, you reboot, and OpenVAS is already set up, then you need to start the services. And the command to do that is simply OpenVAS space start. I'm sorry, OpenVAS dash start. There it goes. So once it does that, it will actually open the UI for you. That's why I closed the Firefox browser. Once my browser opens. Any day. I'll pause it here real quick. Okay, it finally came back up. So once you have Greenbone up and running and logged in, this is where you put that long password in. Now, I've already changed my password, but what I suggest you do is go to Administration and Users. All right. Go to that admin user and go to the little wrench over here. And from that screen, you can change your password to something that you can remember, not that long hexadecimal string that you get from the setup. Okay. So I made mine simple, Tor, T-O-O-R. Hey, it's a theme. Okay. So once that's there, you can go to Scans. And by clicking on Scans, okay, it will bring you to the dashboard. And if you go to Tasks, underneath it, you have a little wizard button here. So again, you can set up a task manually, you can set up a schedule manually, but for just real quick, down and dirty, I need to scan one individual device or one individual network. I suggest you use the wizard. So click on the wizard and put the IP address of that Windows target server there. 192.168. Sorry, 192.168.225.139. All right, at least that's what it was for me. It'll be different for you. Your VM nets are set up differently. All right, let me caveat that. And then click Start Scan. Now, I'm not going to do that because it's already been done. Once that starts scanning, okay, you will see the scan run. It will say in progress, or at first it'll say requested. All right, after a few minutes, it might go to 1%. After a few more minutes, maybe like 5 or 10%. All right. There is a refresh up here. You can refresh it every 30 seconds. You can refresh it manually. All right, just to get a status report. Now for this target, it takes with 2 gigs of RAM and a i5 processor with 2 cores of the i5 processor. It took about 20 minutes to run. Okay, and at the end, you can go into the scan, or you can come up here to Scans and Reports, which is what I suggest you do. Scans, Reports. Come on. And you can simply go into that report. Okay? So from here, as you can see, I have 415 vulnerabilities on this box. If you cannot break into this box, you're not trying hard enough. Or let me say this, you have not tried yet. This is probably the simplest, easiest. This is honestly as easy as Metasploitable. Metasploitable 2, which we get to in the Linux lab. Okay? So I want a screenshot of this, that you got the vulnerability scan. Now, very similar in homework too, you got to do this, but you got to do it to your own host machine. So instead of doing it to in my case, 139, you do it to .1. .1 is your gateway. .1 is the address of your VMnet, which is your host computer. Now, word to the wise, you can do your host scan one of two ways, both acceptable, Both you'll get full points. Okay? And I encourage you to kind of do a little bit of scientific testing. Do it once normally and see what your scan results are. Hopefully, if you've been up to date with all your patching and everything else of your OS, you should get nothing. You know, oh, we see a port or two open. Big deal. Okay? Now, if you haven't been patching your stuff, no promises. Next, after you do your scan, set up a second scan. Now, this is not needed for the homework. Drop your firewall and then scan again. Could be eye-opening. Okay? So if you're running just plain Windows firewall, drop it. If you have some sort of antivirus suite that's running, turn it off or disable it. If you're running Mac, disable whatever Mac has. I don't know. I'm not a Mac person. Okay. If you're running a Linux box, turn off Clam AV, right? Disable your IP tables. All right. It's good because this is going to show you, this is really positive because a lot of times when I do pen tests, I do vulnerability scans. If I get into a network or if I see a server, a lot of times sysadmins drop the firewall. I don't know why they dropped the firewall. Well, I know why they dropped the firewall. They dropped the firewall because they don't know how to administrate it. And the quickest way to solve a problem, oh, it's not working. We'll drop the firewall. Oh, hey, it worked. Oh, great. Okay, that's not the way to do it, though, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that's not the way to do it. All right, so back to my snipping tool. Let's do a new. Let's grab that with the time and date stamp. Copy it. And that is number el número dos. Oops, it was not undo. I didn't want the number 3 there. There we go. So 1, 2, 3. You can clean this up a little bit later. 4. All right, so let's look at what we collected. So let's look at those open ports that we did, and let's look at that OpenVAS scan that we got. Now, I went through this in about maybe 20, 25 minutes. I went through it very quickly because I had everything set up and ready to go. All right. This is going to take you, if you've never worked with it before, complete honesty, probably between 2 and 4 hours. All right. If you've never worked with OpenVAS, if you've never worked with Kali Linux, you're going to go through this video like 5 different times. What did he say there? Rewind. What did he say there? Rewind. And that's okay. Because guess what? When you get it down and it sticks in the gray matter, it's yours to keep. You're welcome. All right. So, let's look at what we have so far. So if we go back to our OpenVAS scan of this target, 10 is good. 10 means that it's more than likely there's some sort of tool or there's some sort of known vulnerability that we can compromise. Not all of them are as easily manipulatable as others. Okay, so what I like to do is if I can find something that's really, really easy, like a buffer overflow maybe, I start looking for a specific port. My favorite port is SMB. What is SMB? Anybody know what that stands for? Server message block. What does server message block used to do? Kyle, you can't answer. What is server message block used to do? Oh, very close. Yes, Windows file sharing. So anything to do with that. Explorer. Okay? I go into a C drive. That's SMB. From a network perspective, not from a local host perspective, but from a network perspective. If I go onto the hard drive and I right click, and you can do the similar stuff in Linux, all right, and I go to properties, I have this little tab that's called sharing, and this is not shared. Well, that's good. I don't want to share my hard drive. Once I share it, I turn on SMB. I turn on server message block so that other devices can see it. And once I do that, oh boy, do I open myself up to a world of hurt. Okay? But guess what? If we don't do that, we're not able to share files, right? We're not able to have file servers and transfer things back and forth. So it is needed. But the problem with that is that it has to be locked down and it has to be um, administrated very tightly. Okay, it has to be trusted. So going back to my scan, if I start looking through here and I start looking for port 445, let's see if I find. Oh, looky there. Microsoft Windows SMB2 negotiation protocol, remote code execution vulnerability. And see that percentage right there? Oh, happy day. So let's go into that and take a look. So if we dive into it, it gives us information. Look, this is the Microsoft Security Bulletin that it references. MS09050. Impact. What's affected? Yep, I'm on a Windows 2008 server. Bada bing, bada bang. There's the detection method. There's the CVE method. Gives you a lot of research. A lot of research. So if I go into, say, CVE details, let me go to that website real quick. I am going to crush my poor laptop. It's going to start smoking. I have so much stuff running right now. I don't even want to see what my performance is like. All right. So there's a website called CVE Details. CVEdetails.com. All right. So this is one of the first places I go if I find a vulnerability on a system to do a little bit of detailed research. It's a clearinghouse, if you will, for all things vulnerability. So if I put that CVE number that I got from OpenVAS, let's look at the first one, 2009 25 26. 2009-2526. I search that sucker. Boop. If I go to that first one, this is going to be from the CVE details site. All right. I look. Oh wow. Maybe that's not good enough. Well, there were 3 there, weren't there? And then there's 2532. 2532. Go back. All right. Ooh, there's my number 10. All right. And it helps give me some insight to things. All right. Now this says there's no Metasploit modules. That's the coup de grace right there. If we can find a Metasploit module that we can leverage to overtake the system. Let's go back. There's one more. 3103. Ah, looky there. Money. All right. There's 3 Metasploit modules, and there's even a public exploit of this vulnerability. Okay? So, for number, and here they are right here. So more research, more reading. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Becoming a pen tester, you're going to read more than you probably ever thought you would. You're going to be doing a lot of research, a lot of reading, and what I like to do, a lot of YouTubing. So we go back and we bring up YouTube and we do a post of any one of these CVEs or that MS 09-050. Let's just put that one in there, MS-09 dash 050. All right, exploit, Metasploit. you will find just numerous how-tos, step-by-steps, etc. on how to exploit that box. Okay? All right. So, to exploit the box, there's a couple different ways you can do it. I'm going to show you the easy way. All right? I'm going to open up Armitage, which is probably the hacking with training wheels, as I like to call it. But I need to start, service PostgreSQL. Okay. Fine. So Armitage is this really weird elfish alien type dude over here. If I click on it, which I did, I'm gonna close my nmap. I need services. There it is. So when it comes up, make sure your host is 127.0.0.1, port 55553. Do not change this username or password. Do not change this username or password. If you do, you're going to goof it up for all time. Trust me, I know. Click connect. Yes, I want to start Metasploit. Well, there it goes. All right. So once Armitage comes up, there's a couple things you have to do. You have to give it the IP address of your target or scan it. You can actually do the nmap steps through Armitage. That's perfectly fine too. I've got to give it a little bit of information. So if I go to host and I do an nmap scan, I can give it a quick the IP address of the target, not me, the target. And you know it gets it when you see all those ports come up. This is going to take about a minute or two to run through everything. All right. Now, let me predicate this by saying this. All right. You should never, ever, 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 so never, ever, ever come across a machine like this in the wild, in the field. If you do, the first word that comes into your brain should be what you think? Honeypot, right. Exactly. Right? False flag. Right? Gotcha. It's a trap. Admiral Akbar should be flashing in your glasses, right? God, I'm a couple of generations out of date here, I think. That's fine. Okay. Once this finalizes, all right. There we go. Oh, look, it even found the operating system. How nice. Okay, now I can go and look at attacks. And I can do something called find attacks. And it's going to search through its database. But guess what? 99 times out of 100, you're not going to find anything this way. Now, there's that one time that you might get lucky. Okay? But here's why you go through and do all the research. All right? If I come through here and I look at exploits and I find, okay, what am I exploiting? I'm doing an exploit on SMB. Okay. And it's in Windows. Oh, there's SMB. Oh my goodness, looky here. Looky that. There's my exploit right there. So I have it highlighted. All I got to do is come here and double click on this. I need to make sure that my remote host is the IP of the target. My L host is my IP. And then I want to click use reverse connection. That's kind of important. And launch. Now, sometimes this will be really quick. Sometimes be patient. That might take a couple of minutes. It might take a couple of rounds to go through. All right. In this case, it was almost instantaneous. I've now compromised the box. Aren't lightning bolts great? Screenshot. There it is. I'm glad I started to record these sessions because I get asked 1,000 times, I didn't see how you did that. Well, rewind. All right. All right. So there's number 4. Number 5. Using any multitude of tools, again, do some research, try to gain a command shell. Hint, hint. This is really easy if you've used Armitage or if you're using Metasploit. Okay? Because I already have it. So command shell is just a simple right click and see where it says Meterpreter? Interact. Command shell. It opens up a new tab. That's what I'm looking for. System 32. System 32 is your kernel, right? Quick dir. Yeah, that looks about right. Screenshot. Oops. And paste. There we go. So I have the command shell. So this step here, getting to the compromise, is the hardest part. Not just in the lab, but in doing a pen test. All right. After you get access, after you get command shell, root shell access, it's a snowball rolling down the side of a mountain. It's really super easy. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it gets fun. This is where it gets a lot of fun because then it's like a kid going through the gates at Disneyland for the first time in his life. You don't know what's there. It's like, ooh, what's here? Let's see. Ah, oh wow, there's databases and web pages and email boxes. Oh my. Let's see what kind of data we can scrape out of this system. All right. And then you can also do additional things, which we'll get on later on in the semester, such as persistence. All right. Maintaining control, passing control to your hacker buddies on your penetration testing team. Because a lot of times in pen testing teams, when you're working on big projects, you'll have people who just concentrate on reconnaissance. They'll find the targets. They'll say, okay, here, I'm passing you all this information to people who do and specialize in session hijacking. They will hijack sessions. They'll break in. They'll get command shells, and then they'll find out, okay, what's in there. They may pass it on to forensics people. They can pass these shells back and forth through a tool such as Armitage. Okay, but you see that in really, really big organizations. Okay, so this isn't due until week 4. I've gone through half of it. Next week, we're going to finish this up. Okay, we're going to go through 6 through 10. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off of YouTube, and I'll get this posted tonight so that you have it on the channel, right, and in Blackboard. Okay, but I got to do this from home because it's going to take forever to upload. So until next time, thanks.